Well, hey everybody, Bernie DeSantis with Insignia Training Partners bringing you a mustache moment. So last week was one of my best weeks of the year so far with Insignia. I was riding high. It was a great week. However, as I've mentioned in previous videos, I also drive Uber on the side. I've been doing that for roughly a year and a half or so. It's been steady, flexible. It's worked out for the family, helped me to fill the gaps when I need it. So, because I had, a good week, I decided I'm going to take the week off, right? So I took most of last week off to enjoy the 4th of July holiday. I plan to, still kind of make up the income, if you will, by driving through the weekend. Figured, 4th of July holiday, people want to get around doing lots of stuff. It'd be busy. So I get on the road Thursday morning, and it was my fourth ride of the morning. I picked up two teenage girls on the west side of Detroit. They were heading to a hair appointment across town on the east side. So we're cruising down I-96 East, and I'm in the second lane from the right. And out of nowhere, boom, a car next to me veers over into my lane, sideswipes my car, and sends me swerving towards the median. Now, thankfully, to a degree, I've been through more than a few car accidents in my life and managed to regain control really quickly. No one was hurt, nothing significant happened. I immediately dialed 911, let the operator know what had happened, where I was, and I look up. The other driver didn't stop. No brake lights, nothing, kept driving. So let's just say I went from shaken up to fired up pretty quick. I slammed on the gas, which the operator from 911 said was not a good idea, and caught up to the other driver so I could get their license plate number. Caught up to him after about a mile or so. She finally pulled off the freeway, and as I kind of gave you a prelude, it was a young mom. She had a toddler in the back seat, 2, 3 years old. Mom didn't speak any English. So, I got it. I understood why she didn't pull over on the freeway. She was probably scared, a little shaken up. The cops ended up showing up in record time, especially for the Detroit Police Department. Came in about 5 minutes. They took the report, and, we all left and were able to drive away, and everything was fine. After the adrenaline wore off, I got home and I started to hear those 6 words in my head that we often hear when something we perceive as a bad thing, right, happens. What are those 6 words? Why is this happening to me? Right? The victim mentality started to show up. Started thinking about the money I wasn't going to make, the repairs that I couldn't afford. Already got another car in the driveway that also needs major repairs. Suddenly, I was down to 0 working cars and a whole lot of frustration and anxiety going into this, holiday weekend. Then I got a call from Uber's insurance, who shared with me that most personal policies don't cover collision when you're driving rideshare. Unless, of course, you got the added rider for an additional cost, which, of course, I didn't have. Now, Uber has a policy for all drivers, thankfully, but the deductible is $2,500. So, I got home, I went down to my office, I sat for a few minutes, just, kind of sitting in my own piss and vinegar. I looked down and I've got a notepad sitting here next to my keyboard. So I pulled out a blank page and I decided to ask myself a better question. Instead of why is this happening to me, changed one word and said, why is this happening for me? And I wrote down 3 things. Maybe it's time to stop using Uber as that crutch. Maybe it's time to refocus my energy and continue growing Insignia. And I've been saying for a while, I want to be able to spend more time with my family. Now, I got to do that. All right, that's exactly what I did. I spent Thursday, Friday, and Saturday with my family. We went to a pool party. We had a barbecue. We watched fireworks. We had a bonfire, had a few beers. Honestly, it was freaking incredible. The car, only cosmetic damage. Uber sent me a message saying I could still drive. I ended up getting back on the road on Sunday morning for a little bit. Obviously, I have to let the insurance piece kind of work itself out. But again, the damage was only cosmetic to the car, so it's not down. But here's the mustache moment, right? Life's going to throw some stuff your way. And we can have the victim's mentality and ask, why is this happening to me? Or we can take control, right? We can ask the question from a different perspective. Change that one word and say, why is this happening for me? And the answers you get when you think about it by changing that one word are very different, right? So, love to hear from you guys in the comments. What's a time when life handed you lemons, right? Or a mess, bad situation, and you made lemonade? You came out stronger, you came out better, maybe even grateful. So, share your wins. Even when it was something in a bad wrapper, right? You had frustration, anxiety. It seemed really shitty, but came out good. Love to hear from you. Enjoy the day. Have a great weekend ahead. I'll see you guys next week.